Is it astonishing that so little knowledge can give us so much power, as Bertrand Russell said? And is this astonishing in natural sciences and one other area of knowledge? Here we go, welcome back. So a good place to start answering these questions is to think about the ToK concepts. I'll focus on the concepts of power, certainty and perspective, but of course you are free to use the concepts that best suit you. Now the key terms in the title, such as so little and power, can be defined as you discuss the areas of knowledge rather than trying to put a definition at the beginning, because this will give you better developed and fuller definitions. Now, when I first looked at this question, I didn't think that the term astonishing was particularly important in the title. But as I wrote the essay notes, I realised that the idea of astonishment could be of central importance to the essay, and I'll get into that later in the video. Now, this is one of those essay titles in which the way that you structure the essay is more important than with other titles. I'm going to structure the essay in a fairly traditional way, with a claim and a counterclaim for each area of knowledge. However, this is not the only way to structure the essay, and if you want advice and suggestions on the various ways to structure the essay, then please check out the ebook How to Write the ToK Essay in 6 Easy Steps, which is available on the ToK Today website. And whilst I'm plugging things, please let me remind you that a like and a subscribe to this video are very much appreciated. Okay, let's jump into AOK Natural Sciences. To establish the proposition that so little knowledge does give us so much power in AOK Natural Sciences, we need to firstly establish that we know so little. To do this, I would use any example where new scientific knowledge has demonstrated the limitations of previously held knowledge, such as the development of atomic theory, the development of germ theory, the development of the understanding of the human circulation system, the development of astronomical knowledge, etc., etc. We could go on. But we also need to establish that this limited knowledge has given us so much power. And that's a little more tricky, because we'll need to come up with a working definition of power. And we'll need to link that little knowledge with that much power. So how can we define power and link it to little knowledge? Well, my working definition of power in the natural sciences is the application of scientific knowledge to change the physical world. Now, you can have a different definition. I'm only showing you mine as an example of how to write this essay. With my working definition, I now need to find examples of how a little scientific knowledge has had significant changes in the physical world. Examples of this could be avionics, selective breeding in animals, gaseous pressure and displacement, various examples from biomedicine such as vaccinations, etc. Again, we could go on. The essential point being that the example used to show so little knowledge should be developed into the example to show how much power it gives. Now, if you use the traditional essay structure that I'm using, you can either develop evaluation points for this proposition, or you can write a counterclaim, which will probably be more in depth. You could write a counterclaim that we don't have so little scientific knowledge, but we actually have a lot of scientific knowledge. You could write a counterclaim that a lot of scientific knowledge has in fact given us very little power. I quite like the counterclaim that our little knowledge has not given us so much power at all. The examples that you choose are less important than how you use those examples. The strength of the argument is more in the way that it is structured than in the example itself. Personally, I like drawing the counterclaim from the same theme as the claim, as it allows you to bring out some of the nuances in the interpretation of both knowledge and the terms little and power. So, my counterclaim for little power would concern the iterative nature of power. I like the word iterative. And the unforeseen consequences of those changes. That is to say, when we construct knowledge, which we then use to change the physical world, it can have unforeseen consequences, which makes the original knowledge inaccurate or out of date. An obvious example is the development of antibiotics, but I'm sure that you can come up with a better example than that. So let's move on to AOK, the human sciences. The word power could be defined in many ways in the human sciences. For example, it could have an intrinsic definition concerning the depth and accuracy of understanding, or it could be linked to an extrinsic definition such as public policy, economy, or social organisation. I like a definition which links it to ethical outcomes, both positive and negative, in the real world, as this gives a wider range of arguments and examples from which to draw. In demonstrating Russell's claim that we know so little, we could draw upon the many obstacles faced by human scientists in methodology and the construction of knowledge. I would argue that human scientists have to operate in a highly multivariate environment, which does not lend itself to the controls and conditions available to natural scientists. The rapid recent evolution of human sciences in the last 150 years can be posed as evidence that we are still in the early stages of knowledge development, i.e., we know so little. With our definition of power and the establishment that we know so little in the human sciences, we just need to look at whether that has given us so much power. Linking the definition of power to ethical outcomes gives us lots of scope for how human scientific knowledge has had real-world effects. Such examples could be drawn from your Group 3 studies in business, economics, geography, psychology, etc. I like the interpolation of economics, geography and psychology by looking at examples from international development, such as how literacy rates affect economic outcomes, or how dietary choices affect mortality rates, etc. Again, we could go on. When developing a counterclaim or evaluating the proposition in AoK Human Sciences, we could go back to those ideas of so little knowledge and so much power. The idea that there is so little knowledge in human sciences can be contextualized with how much human science knowledge existed 100 to 200 years ago. We could also refer to the increasing use of multivariate analysis and mass data, which gives us ever greater insight. The idea that we have so much power could be evaluated by looking at the theoretical foundation of human science knowledge. Most human science disciplines are yet to establish any laws, which has to be the main aim of scientific methodology. Yes, economists, we are talking about you and the other human sciences. So what about evaluating the idea that human scientific knowledge has given us so much power? Again, we can look at the real-world effects of human scientific knowledge, and we could argue that it's negligible. Personally, I draw upon examples from economics. The discipline's just an easy target. I say that as someone who has a degree in economics, but you may want to draw from any of the other Group 3 subjects that you take. Those of you fortunate enough to study environmental systems could talk to your teachers about the problems regarding the application of climate science in the real world. So what about that word astonishing? I didn't think it was particularly significant when I started to write the essay notes for this title, which are available from the ToK Today website. However, as I developed the notes, I started to see how the idea that it is astonishing could be the central focus of the essay. An obvious approach is to agree with the premise that we have little knowledge but so much power, but to contest that we find it astonishing. However, that's fairly rudimentary ToK. The use of the word astonishing is maybe inviting us towards a deeper reflection on our attitude to knowledge construction and our interpretation of the potential of our knowledge. It could very much link to a reflection on the cultural values associated with natural sciences, contrasting the values found in industrial or post-industrial societies with those found in pre-industrial societies. I can see some students writing lovely essays about the rise of positivist empiricism and its effects on interpretation, explanation, culture and truth. But we don't have time to go into that now. I go into that in a lot more detail in the essay notes, which are available from the ToK Today website. So, a few closing notes in summary. This essay also has scope for a few other deeper reflections or debates. Those of you who are interested could develop essays around reductionism versus holism, empiricism versus rationalism, thresholds or criteria for evidence, objectivity and perspectives. The list could go on and on. Now, how you structure the essay is of central importance with this question. And if you're concerned about how to structure your ToK essay, check out my ebook, How to Write the ToK Essay in 6 Easy Steps. In that book, I give details of 6 different ways to structure your ToK essay. I hope that you found this video useful, and if you did, then a like, subscribe, a share or a comment is always appreciated. If you want more information on the ideas raised in this video, then you can pick up the detailed essay notes from the ToK Today website. Those notes are over 6,900 words long, and they contain claims, counterclaims, real-world examples, a bountiful wealth of content to make writing this essay a breeze. For more information, you can email me at daniel@toktoday.com. Good luck with your ToK essay, and remember to stay ToKtastic. Bye.